So Orcust got new support in the new box, and because the box isn't out in Duel Links yet, we are going to try out the new cards in YGO Omega. This is a Yu-Gi-Oh simulator that also allows us to play speed duel formats. So we can use skills like the skill we have here, Draw Sense Earth, and we can test the deck out before the deck is actually playable in Duel Links. First off, we have World Legacy Rolled 1. You can banish this card from the graveyard and target a banished Orcust monster and special summon it. And for Orcust Nightmare, you can banish it from the graveyard to send a Dark Machine from your deck to your graveyard. Orcust Heart Horror, again, banishes itself to special summon a Orcust from your deck. Orcust Symbol Skeleton summons from your graveyard. Scrap Recycler is there to directly send machines from our deck to the graveyard because all Orcust monsters are machine. And Orcust Brass Bombard can special summon a Orcust from her hand. All these Orcust effects have a hard once per turn, and you cannot special summon any monsters other than dark monsters for the rest of the turn. That's why we are only playing darks in our extra deck. And for the spells, we are playing 3 copies of Return. This is basically a Pot of Greed, but also helps you send your Orcust from your hand to your graveyard if you draw them. So if you have a Heart Horror on your hand, you kind of want it to be in your graveyard because you want to activate its graveyard effect. What you can do is just activate your spell and pitch it, draw 2 cards, and then use the graveyard effects. We have 1 copy of Orchestrated Babble. This is the best spell in our entire deck. It enables our deck to even play during our opponent's turn because it allows Orcust monster effects to be quick effects. So you can revive a monster during your opponent's turn, which will be Dengusu most of the time, to activate its effect to send a card to the graveyard. For our traps, we're playing 3 staple traps. Compulse is my pick over here. You can pick IDP, of course. I just like Compulse more because it's more versatile, but of course you can play whatever you want. I like playing True Crescendos because Galatea can also search it during your opponent's turn, so you can set one during your turn and then set another one during your opponent's turn. And the skill we're playing is Draw Sense Earth because the only Earth monster we're playing in this deck is Scrap Recycler, which is a combo starter. A single Scrap Recycler can do a full Orcust combo, that's why we're playing 3 copies of Scrap Recycler and a skill to search it. In the extra deck, we have 2 copies of Dengusu. I like playing 2. You can play 1, it's still gonna be fine because you can always recycle it using the other Orcust Link monster effects, or revive it using Symbol Skeleton. But I just like 2 because it's just more flexible. You can only special summon Dengusu once per turn, and also you can XC summon it using a single Orcust Link monster you control, and that is how you will be summoning it. And also, if a card you control will be destroyed by Battle or Card effect, you can detach a material instead. Really powerful effect. And also, when it's special summoned, including when it is summoned from the graveyard with Symbol Skeleton, you can activate one of these effects to either send a card your opponent controls to the graveyard, or attach one of your banished machine monsters to discard as material. Both of these effects are really good, but especially the card sending effect, that is our main form of disruption, because you can summon it during your opponent's turn using the effect of Babble, and that will allow us to non-target send a card. Really powerful. And also the second effect allows us to return the banished Orcust monsters back to your graveyard by attaching those cards to itself. So when it leaves the field, those materials go back to the graveyard for you to activate their graveyard effects again. Next up we have Longirsu, our Link free monster. This is our main Link boss monster that also allows us to recycle our banished Orcust monsters by shuffling 2 of them back to the deck, and also sending a linked monster your opponent controls to the graveyard. Because it has 2 upward pointing arrows, what you will do is you will summon this card in the right extra monster zone, so it points to 2 of your opponent's monster zones, and if your opponent summons a monster in any of those zones, you can activate the Link monster's effect during your opponent's turn using the effect of Babble, because it allows us to use Link monster's effects during our opponent's turn. So you will be able to basically send your opponent monsters to your graveyard as a disruption. And then we have Nightmare Unicorn. It is a Dark Link free, which we can summon, and also a really powerful Link monster overall. We have 3 copies of Galatea. This is a very powerful combo extender. This Link card cannot be destroyed by battle, and you can target a banished machine monster to shuffle it to the deck, and then you can set an Orcust spell or trap directly from your deck. You can only use this effect once per turn, but you can summon this card more than once per turn. So a lot of the times you will summon this card first and then use its effect to set Babel, or if you already have Babel, you will set Crescendo, and then you Exceed summon your Dingirsu on top of your Galatea, and then link another Galatea by using that Dingirsu. So you send that Dingirsu to the graveyard. So during your opponent's turn, you can just revive the Dingirsu that you sent as link material, and then you can do that as an extra disruption. And finally, we have a Link Kuribo, because we are playing a single level 1 monster, Orcust Brass Bombard. If you draw it, or if you special summon it with Harp Horror, you will want to send it to the graveyard to use its effect to special summon 1 monster from your hand. So Link Kuribo allows us to do that, and it's also Darks, which is perfect. Okay, so in this hand we didn't draw Scrap Recycler, but that should be fine because we drew the draw spell, and we also drew a copy of Harp Horror. We'll activate its effect to grab a Brass Bombard. Since we can't actually normal summon Nightmare, it's a level 7. What we can do is just make Link Kuribo and use the effect of Bombard to summon our Nightmare. Now we have 2 monsters, which means we can make a Galatea. And we can activate Nightmare, targeting our Link monster, sending a World Wand, and give it a bit of attack. We'll also activate World Wand to special summon back the Nightmare. And then before we Exceed summon, we will use its effect to shuffle back the World Wand to set a Babel. Immediately activate the Babel, then we will Exceed summon a Dingirsu. And then we will activate its effect to attach back a banished Orcust monster, and then we will link again for a second Galatea. Then we'll set 2 cards, and we will end turn. That's a really powerful turn 1 board, because during our opponent's turn, if our opponent has a single monster, we can immediately use the effect of Orcust Nightmare and target our monster, and then we'll send a Symbol Skeleton. And then immediately we will activate Symbol Skeleton, revive back to the Dingirsu. And when it is special summoned, we can send a card to the graveyard. So we send our opponent's monster. And yep, we can now activate Compulse, bounce back that monster. And then because we have Babel up, we can also use the search effect of Galatea during our opponent's turn, which is really useful. We'll shuffle back the Symbol Skeleton to set a copy of Crescendo, so we can contest that back row. And also we can just activate the Orcust monsters during our opponent's turn, so we can use it again during our turn because it is once per turn. So yeah, we'll just not waste any time here, we'll just go to battle, and that should be the end of the game. Okay, in this hand we did draw Scrap Recycler, that's wonderful. We'll use its effect, and since we have Harp Horror in our hand, what we can do is we can send the Brass Bombard to our graveyard and special summon Harp Horror to our field. Next up we will make a Galatea, we'll Harp Horror our Orcust Nightmare, and then we can activate Galatea to shuffle back. Let's shuffle back the Bombard to set a Babel. Activate the Babel. We will Exceed summon. And then we will attach back our banished Harp Horror. We'll make a second Galatea. And then we will be able to use the effect of Orcust Nightmare to send a World 1, and then World 1 will activate its effect to summon back the Nightmare, and we will be able to make our link free. We'll summon in the right EMZ, so it points to 2 of our opponent's monster zones, and then now we will set 2 cards and pass. So that's actually 4 disruptions because we have 2 traps, Dingirsu in our graveyard that we can summon, and also Long Girsu can activate its effect during our opponent's turn. So, as you can see, our opponent summons a monster. What we can do is activate Nightmare, targeting our monster. And then, since we now have 2 banished Orcust, we can use the effect of Long Girsu to shuffle them both back. And we can send a linked monster to our graveyard. Because our opponent's monster is summoned in one of our linked monster zones, we can send that to the graveyard. We'll send a Symbol Skeleton from our deck. And if our opponent has any other cards in the field, we can revive Dingirsu and just send that to the graveyard. But since our opponent doesn't have anything, we will just use it to detach, attach a monster to itself as a material. And now we can just set under the trap and just you can go to battle and end the game. So I think this deck is definitely going to be competitive, if not top tier. It's kind of like Phantom Knights in that it has a whole bunch of graveyard effects on its monsters, but I think it's better in some way than Phantom Knights because it can recycle the banished cards so easily within their engine, so they will basically never run out of resources. In Phantom Knights, you will often rely on other cards like Levier to summon back your banished monsters, but in Orcust, you have your Link monsters that shuffled your banished monsters back to the deck, you have your Xyz that attach from the banished pile, and World 1 summons from the banished pile. So you have tons of ways to get back your monsters even if they're banished. That's why we can get away with only playing 1 copy of a lot of the Orcust monsters like Symbol Skeleton, World 1, and Brass Bombard, because you can always just shuffle them back. And also Dingirsu is such a powerful card. It sends any card without targeting and without destroying, which gets around a lot of protection effects. You can always choose to attach your banished monsters to itself if your opponent has no cards, and also it just protects all of your cards from being destroyed by battle or card effects, which is crazy. The free-to-play version of this deck is probably going to be a lot less good because we don't have access to Harp Horror. It is from another main box, but you can still actually do the Orcust combo without Harp Horror by using Orcust Nightmare and World 1 to summon it back, but it's going to be a lot less good and consistent. But anyway, thanks for watching and goodbye.